So in this video, I want to show you how you can make or perform a chi-square analysis using Google Sheets so that you don't need to do it by hand because sometimes it gets annoying. So a chi-square is just comparing did you get what you thought you were going to get with what reality turns out to be. And it's kind of simple to set up. You happen to have whatever the condition is. You'll have some count that you observed, and then what you expected. What we then need to have is our observed minus our expected squared, our observed minus expected squared divided by what we expect. And if we had Excel, we could actually superscript those, but I don't think I can superscript those here. Format. Yeah, it doesn't like that. So what I could do is I could sit there and say, okay, so if I were to pull a card out from a deck, what are the odds that it turned out to be an ace, a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, a jack, a queen, or a king? So those are our conditions that we're trying to figure out, or that are possible. So I'm going to take a whole bunch of cards, and I'm just going to lay them all out. I'll have several decks, and it's just going to be, okay, let's pull them out several times. Let's see what the odds are that we'll get. And you would expect them to be equally distributed because there's 4 aces, there's 4 twos, there's 4 threes, 4 fours, 4 fives, blah, 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 4 of each of these in a deck of cards. So it should be, if we look at it, a 1/13th chance. That's what I would expect. And the result should be you should get an equal distribution if I were to pull these out enough. So is that what happens? So we could have some numbers like 40, 25, 43, 39, 41, 46, 42, 39, 44, 41, 45, 28, and then we'll say 47. The question is, did this match expectations? Obviously the numbers aren't all the same and you're never going to get that. So to do this, I need to know how many I have, and I could do that by asking it to sum up B2 through B14. When I do that, there are 520 cards that were pulled. Okay, so what I would expect is 520, this number of cards, divided by 13, and I'll get 40. So you know I didn't actually plan that out, I just was pulling numbers out of my head. So what I should do is, if I were to do like in the last video, if I were to click and drag, what I'll notice is it's going to say 0, and the reason for that is it's going to take whatever is in cell B16. It's going to keep the pattern going. Well, that's kind of dumb. I didn't want that. So what I can do is I could say whatever's in B15, I want that to be no longer a variable but a constant. And the way you do that is you add little dollar signs in front of the B and in front of the 15. So it's locking that cell in place. What I could have also done, because the pattern is I'm not moving left to right, I'm moving up and down, so I just want to lock the 15. So that doesn't change the values, but when I click and drag, it says, hey, I should have expected 40 every single time. Okay, so my observed minus my expected, my this value squared, up caret is squared, then we'll do that value divided by what I expected. Hooray. What I can now do is click and drag and do this for all the other ones without having to repeat my formula. Yay. Then my chi-square is just add up all those numbers. Sum of B2 to B14. It does help if I use F. Oops. Because I looked at that at 520, I was like, no, that's not possible. So you get a 12.8. So off of that 12.8, you would now go through and look up what are my degrees of freedom, what is the p-value I'm going to use, what's my critical value, and then I would compare that with P13. So or with the 12.8, the my chi-square. So at a given degrees of freedom and a given p-value, if my chi-squared exceeds my critical value, that means one thing. If for a given degrees of freedom and a given p-value, if my chi-square is less than a critical value, it means something else. Here, what we would say is we reject the null hypothesis and we accept the alternative. Null hypothesis in this case would be I should expect the pattern to hold. My alternative hypothesis is it's some other pattern. I don't know what the pattern is, it's just some other pattern. So if chi-squared is greater than critical value, we reject the null, we accept the alternative. If the chi-square is less than the critical value, what we say is we fail to reject the null hypothesis. And you could look that up yourself to see what it turns out to be. But that's how we would do a chi-square. Reason why we set it up this way is so that you say, oh, oops, I didn't actually get a 30 or 25, I actually got a 35 there. And it actually wasn't a 28, it was actually a 38. And suddenly it will redo all the math for you, which is kind of nice. So hopefully this was a little bit helpful for you as you do your chi-square activity.